Give it up for Danielle DiMartino.
Danielle DiMartino.
Danielle DiMartino booth. Of course, today's cut for really controversial. A lot of people on both sides of this argument. Now, I really think I want to weigh in on this before I bring in some of the best on the street. So my take real quick. Federal Reserve policy, still restrictive. Jay Powell and company, we've got to look at history, right? They were late to tackle runaway inflation. You go back to 2022, they waited. The first cut, the hike rather, was only 25 basis points. Then they said, okay, maybe things are bad, 50. Then they realized, man, we messed up, 75, 75, 75, 75. So they were very, very aggressive on the hiking side. And I think, at some point, yeah, they did, of course, make a U-turn in policy, and they did begin with a 50 basis point cut, but this nowhere comes close to matching what we saw. And now we get these inflation rates. They think inflation is going to come down next year. Last time we had this FOMC, they thought inflation was going to be higher. So there's a whole lot out there, a whole lot about this Fed not needing to be accommodative. I think they do. People are wondering why, by the way, these changes haven't made any dramatic impact yet on yields. There was something really interesting, right, that I thought sort of puts this in perspective. But by the way, another great chart from Blue Kurtik, which shows that the Fed funds rate is the most restrictive relative to inflation in 15 years. You got to put those things together. And that restrictive overhang, in my mind, has crushed middle income houses, small businesses. We saw ADP this week. I want to start now by bringing QI Research, their CEO and chief strategist, Danielle DiMartino Booth. First, your initial thoughts, because this is a lot. These are a lot of changes.
There are a ton of changes, and I'm starting to feel like it's a schizophrenic Federal Open Market Committee. I mean, they're swinging from pendulum to pendulum. Hawks are being doves. Doves are being. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, Goolsbee set this out. Goolsbee is always a dove.
The Chicago Fed is always the most dovish Fed person, and he's doing a hawkish dissent. Look, it makes no sense. To me, at least, when somebody like Goolsbee is putting out a hawkish dissent, that is just blatantly political, Charles. I've got to say it.
So they see inflation coming down and the unemployment rate coming down. And the GDP number, I guess, really shocked me if I heard Edward right. From 1.8 last time to 2.3. Sounds like a rather robust economy.
Clearly they have faith in one big, beautiful bill. I mean, it's going to be something. And clearly the layoffs are going to stop. That's great news, because that's what we want. We want for these layoffs to stop. But that's their presumption. Right.
All right. So let me bring up a chart here, because everyone's saying that maybe something's gone wrong. Right. Because, historically, the yields sort of go with Fed fund rates. And although they've trended lower, they haven't reacted the way they have. What's that? What do you explain that long duration?
They've been very stubborn. Charles, look, we have a lot of investors who are invested in bond yields not coming down. And the bigger the investor, the more they can move the market. So the data may be saying one thing, but investors have enough sway and power to hold the markets where they want for them to be. You ask many Americans right now, and they will tell you there's problems in the labor market.
Sure.
And their essentials inflation's gone completely haywire, over which the Fed has no control.
Right. And that's a lot of times come back to government, big government, everything, all the things you talk about have a direct line to big government. So you wrote a manifesto.
I wrote it. It was my manifesto.
We're going to bring this up in a minute, but I want to go straight to the manifesto for a moment. Okay, hardworking Americans who wake up in the morning asking themselves what went wrong. You fire a lot of shots in this thing,
I do, and the whole purpose of this is to say that just because tradition dictates that you elect as chair of the Federal Open Market Committee, the person behind the podium at 2:30 in 25 minutes, means that the committee members cannot elect the chair they want. Every single January, 19 individuals on the Federal Open Market Committee vote for the FOMC chair. It can be a different person than the person who the president nominates and the Senate confirms. You can have that. Just because it's tradition, they never have. They've always had the individual the president nominates be the chair of the FOMC, but it doesn't have to be. They could keep Jay Powell there. They could elect to have Jay Powell for all. They could elect they could elect Lisa Cook. They could elect any of the 19
But it's already thought to be too political already. Again,
this makes it unpolitical. This says we're going to put the person in the position we feel is best able to do the job, and they have every right to do that.
Yeah, I just worry, like, if Goolsbee is a noted dove is now saying he didn't see the need for cuts.
I'm sorry, Charles.
And he would vote for a Fed. Listen, the tie between the Federal Reserve and the White House has gotten tighter and tighter. It's like a revolving door.
That doesn't make it a good thing. And again, according to the Federal Reserve Act, the members of the committee have the power in their hands to choose who makes monetary policy.
What's the one thing you want to hear Powell say today?
I want to hear Powell say the truth. I'm so tired of Powell being disingenuous to the American people. He's supposed to make monetary policy in the public interest, and he hasn't been. He's blatantly been vindictive against the White House. That's not his job.
Right.
His job is to be apolitical and make monetary policy for the hardworking American men and women. That's it. So he needs to back away from being so political, and that's why I say it's time for a leadership change.
Stay around for the panel.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fire. I know. Thank you so much.